I'm about to go live with my friend Molly Pardon. She's an incredible singer-songwriter. She's had like a really busy few months. She's touring all over. She's releasing new music. And I have been like such a fan of her. She was one of the first people that I knew in Nashville that was kind of like doing alternative, non-country stuff that I really loved. And she writes, a lot of her songs have this kind of like longing, mysterious storyline, and I wrote a song called Sundown on my record Selfish, and I really wanted to talk to her about that feeling. Like, I think it's something that I do a lot. Just kind of like as a writer, I like make up stories. And as a pathological liar, I'm constantly making up stories. But I think it's really common to kind of like blur the lines between fantasy and creativity and anxiety and love and all of these kinds of things. And in my song Sundown, it's about, like, I don't know if you ever had an MSN crush. Oh, yay! I was just somebody just commented, I followed you from the Ray episode, and I also want to shout out Ray, who is like, she's the new Tinkerbell and the new Peter Pan, and I just saw her play her sold out show, album release at Hotel Cafe. I'd seen her play live before, but never with a full band. It was so hype. It was so, so good. Molly is here. Molly, I don't know if you heard the intro, but I talked about you. I'm going to wave at you. Now I'm going to invite you. Moment of silence for
Hi.
the internet. Molly, where are
I'm
you?
in a home that I live in. Yeah, this is a
This is
room in
your
my home.
home. Is it a cabin?
It does
It's
look
woodsy.
like a cabin. A lot of times it feels like a cabin, but it's not. It's just a home built in the 1700s. Isn't that crazy?
Damn,
Yeah.
Massachusetts. Holy shit. Are there a lot of
I
ghosts?
think there are. Yeah, there gotta be, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's even if we're talking like one every 100 years, that's like a fair amount of ghosts for you. 1700s. Okay, well, I'm sorry I was a little bit late, so I'm just gonna hop right in. First of all, I'm obsessed with your two new songs. Sacramented is, I feel like I've never heard you do. Sorry, I feel like as a Jew, I just like burst into flames saying that word.
Yeah.
Sacramented,
Yeah.
right? That's the pronunciation. I feel like I've never heard a song of yours that
Thank
sounds like
you.
that. It's so
I
good.
mean, that's kind of the first of its kind.
It's
So you're right
yeah.
to think that.
Yeah, thanks. Um, yeah, you and Micah are like
It's
such a
so fun.
magical duo. So what I've been singing in my head all morning and a little bit out loud is Cigarette, and
Thank
that's just like one of my
you.
favorite songs of yours, and maybe
Mm.
in general, like it's so, so catchy. Um, when I originally asked you to come on, show me about it. Um, Also, if I may, I don't think I've mentioned this, but I know I have a lisp, and I went to speech therapy to make that sound, and I think it's like so funny that I picked a name that like I can't say. It's like so hard for me. Be like,
The SH
show me
sound?
about it. Show
Yeah.
me about it. Yeah, SHCH. The ch at all is just
I think you're
hard
crushing
for me.
it.
Um, Thanks, Molly. Um, anyway, but I when I originally wrote you, I was like, I have this song. It's kind of about like long, like a fantasy relationship, longing, and I feel like you write about like love that has passed that you are not romantic. Well, I guess romanticizing. And I'm wondering if you can speak to that and like why you write about it and what it kind of means
Ooh.
to you.
I definitely romanticize past relationships. It's part of my processing, I suppose. I
Hmm.
claim to, I'm a pretty slow processor, but I move on from things quickly, and like that helps me process or something like that. Um, so like I spend the subsequent weeks and months and years like really analyzing and overanalyzing what happened, and I guess um, yeah, I do or did have a tendency to like crystallize versions of people and write
Hmm.
about them. So that's what a lot of my songs are about. It's like the really good parts that I miss in a person. But also, Sacramented specifically is a little bit about like a spark that I saw in someone that I like uh, wanted to ignite. I could see it. I could see how it could ignite into a flame. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I do. But so do you find like I think sometimes in writing I sort of finish the story for myself. Like if I'm dissatisfied or I have questions about how something went, I write about it and I write about it over and over. I'll write about the same relationship over and over because I'm sort of trying to understand it. And yeah, like I think that's interesting that you say you like can physically move on quickly.
Or like
You'll
externally,
physically, I guess,
yeah.
remove yourself or, like, and, but then the processing
Totally,
continues.
totally. It, you know, what you just said about like writing about a situation or something that confuses you, you like write about it over and over. It reminds me of how like that's how we process, right? That's how a kid would process a strange or hard situation or like a concept that they don't quite get. They just like ask about it over and over and over until it finally sinks in.
Yeah.
And we continue to do that as adults, right? We just like we'll revisit the same type of person in a relationship or um, you know, do everything the same over and over and over until one day it finally clicks.
Yeah. How do you, how, how do you know when it has clicked? How do you know when you're like, oh no, is my internet gone? I see a spiral. No.
I you're with me.
Can, okay, good.
Uh
Okay,
oh.
good. I saw like a little ghost. I I can't imagine you have amazing Wi-Fi in a house that is from the 1700s. That's
Hard to imagine, right?
with ghosts and spirits
I don't know. I
constantly.
think it's the
Hard
invisible that is the
to imagine.
strongest in these parts. So I actually have great Wi-Fi, but piss poor cell service. So coming to you from very
Interesting.
strong 4 bars of Wi-Fi. Sorry, 3.
Oh, stunning. Um, wait, what did I just want to ask you? I guess like how
Yeah.
do you know when you've written about something enough? And like when I'm listening to your music, I'm asking this as a fan. I'm like, is this one person is this one relationship or is it like a few different
Mm.
people, same thing happening?
Um. Well, I'll answer the first part. I know when I've moved on, when like when I feel okay. I don't know. Yeah, just
Right.
like when it doesn't plague my thoughts, and when I am finally not
Mm-hmm.
drowning in the mystery of whatever I've been writing about. Um, so it's just like not at the top of my thought bank, right? And um, yeah, it's interesting, Zoe. I was talking about this with someone recently that like I used to write songs that were specifically about certain moments and the people that were in those moments, and it was just very literal. And I've gotten to where I write very fragmented stories that like I pull from different journal pages. I've like racked up um, a library of thoughts, lyrics to pull from. So sometimes I'll just like go shopping in the lyric library and pull from very different times. And yeah, so sometimes the songs aren't really about one person or one thing. It's more of a mood,
Yeah.
I guess.
Mhm. I I totally get that. And I think that like creates like you find the things that are true sort of universally when you're not married to like telling this one story start to finish. It's like, well, I, it was what is the quality that was present in this relationship and this situation and whatever. And then when you write about that, it's like I think it really like feels magical to the listener, and I definitely feel that when I'm listening to your music, and it gives me that like I'm curious, like I'm listening to it and it reminds me of something in my life, and then it makes me like, kind of imagine or like go to a like a yeah, like a fantasy place about like I wonder what world this song came from, and I think that's really exciting. As a listener, did you ever have like a well, I think in Canada it was MSN, but you guys probably did. Is it AIM or AOL?
Oh,
Like
I
online
had MSN
chatting?
Messenger, by the way.
As it
Yes,
as it
we were in
you
family for sure.
you did an MSN family? Okay, I wasn't sure if that was only Canadian, if that was the
Yeah, I
off-brand
didn't have AOL for the
AOL.
longest time, but yeah, MSN.
MSN. Okay, sick. So I I feel like I like started like I would I was shy at school, but I like loved to write, and I thought it was like hilarious. I was probably so obnoxious, but like so like I could write something that was like really snappy and funny, and I'd have a minute to work on it. And so I'd have these kind of like MSN-y friendships or relationships, and then like we'd see each other at school and we'd never talk. And I think that that's like I wonder like if people who were doing that like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I don't know how old, but like if that kind of created a generation of people who have a weird parasocial or like situational relationship
Mm,
pattern that they play out. Do you feel like
no,
were you one of those
I didn't
people?
really. I have no idea who I talked to on MSN chat, but um, well, it's funny how I like jumped to a no. I don't know. Like, no,
You don't
I
remember who
don't
you're
know
talking
how
to.
it affected me. It had to affect me in some way, right? But I don't know. Like, I wonder. That's a really interesting like curiosity because I wonder to what effect my like socializing was uh I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like I wonder how it affected my socializing because I wasn't very popular. I wasn't very like outgoing in high school or anything. Um, but I didn't necessarily rely on internet communication. I just didn't talk to
Mm-hmm.
many people. I just didn't have many friends. I don't know. I have a lot of siblings, so maybe I was just kind of socialed out at
Yeah,
home, and I
for
was like, well, I
sure.
certainly don't want to do this all day at school.
What
I'm number
number are
5.
you?
What number?
Number five. Five. What number? You guys probably have more numbers at home, right?
Yeah,
Jerseys. Five of
yeah.
nine. 5 of 9.
Molly in
That's
the middle.
that's nice. Molly in the
That's so
middle.
funny, Zoe. My
Wow.
my little buddy Leo would ask. He's 7 now, so he's not that little. But when he was a few years younger, he would. That's how he would ask how old you were. He would say, "What number are you?" I loved it. So I was about to say my age.
That's also like if you put it that way, it sounds like the older you are, like you have a better number.
Yeah.
Like you have a more number. That's kind of a
Yeah, totally.
kind of nice way to put it. Well, we're kind of closing in on 15 minutes here. I guess just to wrap up that thought on MSN, I think it like let it like created, it was like the first time where I was like writing a fantasy about like a relationship and like kind of romanticizing or like, you know, thinking about, I don't know, playing God, I guess. Um being like a puppeteer, like sort of you know, thinking about how I would want things to go or whatever. Anyway, I think it's interesting, and I love that quality in your music that leaves space
Thank
for
you.
imagining.
Wait, I'm a little bit lost. Will you tell me again how, like, what did you do on MSN?
Lots of stuff, but like I would just you know, and it wasn't just MSN. It was like I had this like specifically like actually a phone friendship. I'm saying
Okay.
MSN, but it was like sort of like in that realm. Um, and uh, we would like talk on the phone. Like I'd get home, we would talk on the phone until
Wow.
we went to bed. And but then we were
Okay.
like never
And
hanging. And we
did
didn't
you
really
like
want
did you
to.
make up stuff, or did you just like unfurl a side of you that you didn't unfurl to other people? Was it like the screens were down and the real Zoe came out,
No,
or was it? Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, I think I was like very like physically awkward at that time, so it was nice just to like be on the phone and not like worry about like sitting
Yeah.
in a nice way or you know like I think maybe it was like a chance to kind of stretch out my personality, but I think I also was like um what is the word, like
Yeah.
romanticizing who I was talking to.
It's interesting.
And then at school when we're off the phone romanticizing it even more, and then you know it just I don't know, but I think that's like a writer's instinct is
Yeah.
to
Use their
embellish.
imagination. The mind is
Yeah,
so powerful.
yeah,
It's crazy. Just want to say I've had your song
yeah.
Cooler Than I Am stuck in my head all day. I love it so much. How
Ah,
did you write
thanks
that?
buddy, thank you. um you know what, I wrote a lot of these songs like sitting at my mom's makeup table at the
Uh,
cottage, um just like looking out kind of at the sky. I don't know. Like during the pandemic, I just wrote. I don't know. I wrote so much. I was
yeah.
so free, so unstressed. Had all the time. Yeah, I think I wrote that during the pandemic, and like in a session with myself where I like sometimes I write. I get like two ideas at a time, and then I
Okay,
finish
that's
them
what Sacramented is.
separately.
It's like two different song ideas that I smushed together.
Weird.
I like loved this chord progression and accidentally wrote two songs to it. But they were both really short, and I was like, Micah, what can we do? Like them both. Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that. I've been in like a lot of sessions where like I'll get there and people will be like, "You have a lot of mid-tempo songs. Do you want to do this?" Or like, "Well, you like let's do something you don't do." And I'm like, "Bitch, no.
Yeah.
I like to do the same thing over and over." I think that's
Totally fine.
fun. Like it's the same thing. It's like I'm working it out,
Yeah.
and then I'll move on.
Exactly.
I guess when I don't care about it anymore. But
Dang.
yeah.
Hmm.
Before I let you go, I
Okay.
want to ask you two questions. What does selfish mean to you? Is the first
I
question.
thought about this. I did a little bit of studying, and I know that you asked this, and I was thinking about it earlier today. And selfish, it like the first thing I thought of was someone that this kind of dark, but someone that takes their own life. And I've heard people remark that like it's a very selfish thing to do because because so many other people, may depend on that person or love them and like not want them to leave Earth. And I think if that person, like, sometimes when someone is being described as selfish, they like maybe underneath that self absorption is the notion that they don't know where they belong, and like a loss of a sense of belonging. And so they are like grabbing outside of themselves to try to belong to something outside of themselves. So that's,
It, specifically in the case of somebody who takes their own
no,
life, or
I
you just
think it could apply to
general.
that, but also someone that just like hogs a whole bench at a doctor's office, when they really need one. That I think that it
Yeah.
I just like I operate under the guise that people want to belong and like want to be good people. So if they're doing something that is like stupid or mean or bad, they're just like painfully unaware of how they're like screwing it up for themselves and others.
I think what is really interesting about all of that is how it's all about sort of like being without yourself. Like you're not really acting from a place of like authenticity. You're like clunkily trying to meet other people's
Yeah.
expectations and falling short. Um, that is such an interesting. That's a fresh take.
I could go on and on about that for an hour, but next question, please.
Okay, Molly, are you feeling more like a bitch, more like a whore, like a saint, or a combination, or none of the above, or
Whoa.
a ghost? That's a special option that I'll put in for
Oh,
you
oh
in
my gosh.
Massachusetts.
I've been I've been stirring some shit up in my life for the last couple months. I'm kind of feeling like a bitch.
Heck yeah. Can I ask
I'm just
what? What are you
like
stirring?
I am I am letting people know how I feel. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a little dangerous, because then that gives other people the liberty to let me know how they feel. But
Right.
but I am loving it. It like stings at first. Someone once told me like the truth will set you free, but first it will hurt like hell.
Mm,
And boy, have I found that to be true when I have let people know how I
right.
feel. So I'm feeling like a bitch.
I love that. And also like it like what a funny like if the definition of bitch or what makes you a bitch is like being honest about your feelings, like so funny to me. And like it does fit the description, but like um it also seems like something you should be able to
Totally.
do without being called a bitch. But I love that for you. I think that is fabulous. And I hope that you will, feel free to let me
Thank
know
you.
whatever the
Okay.
fuck you want
I
to.
appreciate that. So fun to be on here with you, Zoe. Nice to see you.
Thank you so much for
Of
making
course.
the time. I appreciate it. And are you
Molly
done your
Parton
tour?
touring is done for the year. I have one show
Okay.
in like upstate New York in a couple months, and I'm just on Darling Side
Nice.
tour for the next like year. I'm gonna finish out their album release tour, which it just began. So um, I'm gonna go beginning to end with them as their bassist. So we're coming to LA.
That
We're coming to LA in
is
October.
cool.
We be there October 6th.
Amazing. Yeah,
So I'm gonna be hanging
you're
out in
welcome.
LA for like 10 days. So I'd love to see you.
Oh, amazing.
Okay.
Yes, please come hang. That is so awesome.
I
Okay, are
am.
you gonna be at Americana Fest?
Oh my gosh. Great.
See you
I
there.
play Friday. Darlingside plays Friday
Wonderful.
at 7.
Oh, amazing.
Analog.
7. What venue?
What about you?
Okay, cool.
Oh.
Um, I'm not playing. I didn't even know it was
I
Americana
remember you
Fest.
posting about this.
I just Yeah, I booked a trip because
Oh,
it's my birthday and I wanted to go, and Liam is going on a
incredible.
work trip there, so I was like, oh, I'll go. And turns out it's Americana Fest. So anyway, but it's good because it means people will be in
There
town.
you
I
go. Yeah,
can
bring a
wander
floppy
around and see
hat
everybody.
and you're good to go.
Okay.
Bye,
All
Zoe.
right.
Okay, see you
Bye,
later.
Molly. Thank you so much.